Open up your workbooks to page 335. In this video, we're going to be doing lesson 23, and lesson 23 is all about percent. In class, we'll talk about this interesting little story right here, but we're going to just skip down and start with number 3 for this video. Something that you need to know that you probably could get from this little tidbit of information is that if you don't already know, percent is out of an amount out of 100, because you know per, like we said before, is for every. And then, of course, cent means 100. So percent is an amount out of 100. All right, let's start with number 3. The tape diagram represents the remaining charge of a cell phone's battery. What percent of the battery's charge does each unit of the tape diagram represent? Explain. Well, each unit represents 20% of the battery's charge, because there are 5 equal units of 20%, which totals the whole 100%. So 100% divided by 5 sections equals 20. So each section is 20%. For a total of 100%. All right, and then B says, what fraction represents the battery's remaining charge? What fraction represents the battery's charge that has been used? So you've got 2 out of the 5 sections representing the battery's charge that remains. And then you've got 3 out of the 5 that represents the battery's charge that is used. And then C says, what percent of the battery's charge remains? What percent of the battery's charge has been used? Well, if each section is 20%, and you have 2 of the sections for the part of the battery that remains, that's 40%. And then you've got 3 out of the 5 sections that are used, and each section is 20%. So let me just do this. 20 plus 20 is 40. So the 3 sections is going to be 60% used, because that's 20 plus 20 plus 20, which is 60%. Okay, and then you can look at it like this. 2 out of 5 is equal to 4 out of 10, which is equal to 40 out of 100, which is 40%. And then 3 out of 5 is equal to 6 out of 10, which is 60 out of 100, which is 60%. Number 4 says, the following students estimate the number of hours their cell phone battery will last when it has a whole charge. A, Ryan's phone battery lasts 10 hours. How many hours will Ryan's phone lasts when the battery's remaining charge is 40%. Draw a tape diagram to determine your answer. All right, so we're just going to draw one tape. This isn't going to be like a ratio tape diagram. We're just going to actually draw a tape. And then we're going to section it off so that we've got the 5 sections, so each section can be 20%. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this probably could be a little bit longer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is 0%. This is your 20% mark. This is your 40% mark. Your 60% mark. 80%. And then 100%. All right, now 100% equals 10 hours. Okay, so that means that each section is 2 hours for the whole thing to equal 10 hours. All right, and it says that the battery's remaining charge is 40%, so that is this part right here. 40% is right here, right? Okay, so that 40% is 4 hours. All right. So the question is, how many hours will Ryan's phone last when the battery's remaining charge is 40%? And your answer for the 40% is going to be 4 hours. So answer that question in a complete sentence. All right, let's look at the next one. Kayla's phone battery lasts 15 hours. How many hours will Kayla's phone last when the battery's remaining charge is 40%? Draw a tape diagram to determine your answer. All right, same deal. We're going to draw a tape. We're going to section it off into 5 sections. Each section, since there's 5 of them, is 20% because the total is 100%. And 100 divided by 5 will give you 20. So each section is 20%. Now, the whole 100% is equal to 15 hours. All right, so that means 15 divided by 5, because there's 5 sections, is 3. So your unit value here is 3. All right, and it says that Kayla's phone battery lasts 15 hours. How many hours will Kayla's phone battery last when the battery's remaining charge is 40%? So 40% is right here. All of this is 40%. So that is 6, because 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 hours. So Kayla's phone will last 6 hours when it has 40% left. Kayla's phone battery will last 6 hours. All right. Now let's look at the next one. Riley's phone battery lasts 8 hours. How many hours will Riley's phone last when the battery's remaining charge is 40%? Draw a tape diagram to determine your answer. So same deal, we're going to draw our tape diagram. Divide it into 5 sections. I can do better than that. There, that's a little bit better. So this, of course, is 20% sections, because 100 divided by 5 is 20, so each section is 20%. All right, and the total time that the battery lasts is 8 hours, so 100% charge lasts 8 hours. 100% charge lasts 8 hours. So then I'm going to do 8 divided by 5 to figure out what the unit value is, to see what the number that goes in each section is. And each section is 3.2 hours, because 8 divided by 5 is 3.2. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not right. No, 8 divided by 5 is 1.6. Yes. 8 divided by 5 is 1.6. So each one of these sections is 1.6 hours. All right, and now we want to know how many hours Riley's phone will last when the battery's remaining charge is 40%. So 40% is, of course, right here. So that's 2 sections of 1.6. And 2 sections of 1.6 will equal 3.2. That's where I got the 3.2 from, because 1.6 plus 1.6 is 3.2. So the number of hours that Riley's phone will last with 40% is 3.2 hours. All right, let's look at the last one on number 4. So Lacey's phone battery lasts 6 hours. So her tape is going to total to 6 hours. Now, we're going to split it again into 5 sections, and each section will be 20%. All right, and so since this whole tape equals 6 hours, and there are 5 sections, 6 divided by 5 is 1.2, so each section is 1.2 hours. So you just take that number of hours and divide it by the number of sections, and that'll give you how many hours each section is worth. Now, each section is worth 20% and 1.2 hours. So 40% is right here, which is 2 sections of 1.2. So when her battery has 40% left, she's got 2.4 hours before it dies, basically, is what we're saying here. So 2.4 hours is how long her phone will last with 40% charge left, 40% charge remaining. All right, so number 5 says complete the table with the numbers from parts A through D in problem 4. All right, so when she had 4 hours remaining from the total of 10, that gave us 40%, right? And then when she had 6 out of 15 hours, that gave us 40%. And then when she had 3.2 out of 8 hours, that also was 40%. And then when she had 2.4 out of 6 hours, that again was 40%. So all of those fractions, because it's a fraction, 4/10, 6/15, those will equal 40%. All right, so for this next section, it says to solve using any method. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to make an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. So we're going to take all of these. Out of means a fraction, right? 13 out of 20 is 13 over 20. That's 13 out of 20. So we're going to make the fraction, and then we're going to make an equivalent fraction whose denominator is 100, and that'll give us the percent. So 20 times 4 gives me 100. No, times 5. 20 times 5 gives me 100. So I've got to times 5 up here. And 13 times 5 is 65. So 13 out of 20 is 65%. For number 7, we've got 18 out of 36, so that's 18 out of 36. Okay, well, I can't think of any whole number that I can multiply by 36 to get 100. So what I can do is I can simplify 18 out of 36. let's see, I know that 18 times 2 equals 36. So 18 is a multiple of 18. I'm sorry, 18 is a factor. It's also a multiple of 18, but 18 is a factor of 18, and 18 is also a factor of 36. So I can divide both of these numbers by 18. 18 divided by 18 is 1. 36 divided by 18 is 2. So 18 over 36 simplifies to 1/2, and then I can take 1/2 and make an equivalent fraction whose denominator is 100 by multiplying by 50. 2 times 50 is 100, so 1 times 50 is 50. And I think we all knew 1/2 is 50%. Number 8 is what percent is 24 out of 80. So 24 out of 80. Once again, I cannot think of any whole number that I can multiply by 80 to get 100. So I'm going to have to simplify this. I know that I can look at 24 and 80, and I know that 8 is a factor of both of those. So 8 will evenly divide 24 and 80. 80 divided by 8 is 10. And 24 divided by 8 is 3. And I can go from 3/10 to 30 over 100. If I multiply 3/10 times 10 over 10. And 30 over 100 is 30%. And then the next one is 17 out of 85. I'm going to have to simplify 17 out of 85 also. And I think that 17 times 5 will give me 85. So that means 17 is a factor of both 17 and 85. So 85 divided by 17, 85 divided by 17 is 5. And 17 divided by 17 is 1. And so I can go from 1/5 to 20 over 100 because I can multiply 5 times 20 to get 100. And then 1 times 20 is 20. So 20 out of 100 is your final fraction there, your equivalent fraction whose denominator is 100. That gives you 20. And over here we had 30%. All right, double number lines are always a really good tool to use with percent. We're going to do a double number line to model this percent. Number 10 says Noah sets a goal to eat at least 80 grams of protein each day. Today he eats 92 grams. So 80% is 100% of his goal. But he went above his goal. You can do more than 100% of something. What percent of his goal does Noah eat today? Draw a double number line to show your thinking. All right, so I'm going to section off my double number line into sections of, hold on, I need to make room to write at the top. Since it's 100%, I got to get a number that divides 100, and 100% is 80. So 10 can divide 80 and 100 evenly. So I'm going to section this off into 10 sections, but I know I'm going to go past 100% because Noah went past his goal. So 80 was his 100%. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a little bit more room on this side because I may go over a little bit because I got to section this off into 10 sections. All right, now this first, I also have to write on here, so, didn't mean to do that. All right, my first line, because I have to label it, is number of grams of protein. So I'm just going to write protein here. And then my, of course, bottom line is going to be percent. All right, and of course you start with 0, 0. All right, let's see if I can get this into 10 sections. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, well, I did that not evenly spaced, but pretend like it is. So this is going to be 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80, and 90. No, this is all percent down here. You can write your percent sign afterwards, after the number. I did not have room. So if I divided this 100 by 10, that would be 10, of course. If I divide 80 by 10, each line is going to be 8. So I'm counting by 8s on the top. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, and then 80. Okay, now if we continue past 100%, we could go to 110%. Let me make this a little bit smaller because I'm going to have to write, and you know what, I might write it on the side like this. I might say 100% here, and then let me do, hold on. Yes, perfect. All right, 110% because we're counting by tens. And then this is going to be 120%. All right. Now we got to count by 8s here. So 110% is going to be 88. And then counting by 8s, another 8 is going to be 96. Oops, we passed up 92. And so therefore 92 must come in between 88 and 96. To figure that out, you just say, okay, let's see. If I take 88 plus 96, that gives me 84. Divide that by 2, I get 92. So what that means is that 92 is directly in the middle. And I'm going to go a little bit higher here. Of 88 and 96. So then I just have to figure out what is directly in the middle of 110 and 120. And of course, that's going to be 115. So 115. All right. Whew. So we've figured it out that if he eats 92 grams of protein, that is going to be 115%. 92 grams of protein is 115% of his goal. And that was a double number line example. All right, now for the next section, it says to solve by using any method. All right, well, I'm going to show you a method that I call the percent model method, and it is a foolproof method you can use every time. Basically, you set up every single problem the same way. And it is called, let me see where I can write this. Let's see if I have room down underneath here. Yeah, I do. Okay, so I'm just going to say, let me put it right here. You know what I'll do? I'll do this. I'll erase this top part. You've already got those answers. And I'll put it right above here, since we've already got that answer written down. I'm sure you're following along. You could also rewind this video if you need to back it up. Okay, so in this section above, I'm going to write the percent model method, where you do part over whole equal percent over 100. All right, so 18 is what percent of 15? So that's going to be 18 is your part. No, it is. 18 is your part. 15 is your whole. This is one where you're going better than 100%. And this is going to equal what over 100. So if you just cross multiply and then divide, so 18 times 100 is 1800, and then divide by 15. 1800 divided by 15 will give you, if you put it in the calculator, 1.2. This works every time if you have a calculator. 1800 divided by 15 equals 120. Sorry, not 12, not 1.2, it's 120. So 1,800 divided by 15 equals 120. So this 18 is 120% of 15. Cross multiply and divide. So you do part over whole equals percent over 100, and then your next step would be to cross multiply and divide. All right, let's do that for this next one. So 450 out of 150. So then, once again, we're doing better than 100%. But this model works on all types of percent. 450 over 150 equals what percent over 100? We're trying to find the percent. We don't know the percent. So we cross multiply here. So 450 times 100 equals 45,000 divided by 150, and that gives us 300. And that's 300%. Okay, and the next one, same thing. 21 out of 20. Cross multiply and divide. That's going to be 2,100, because 21 times 100 is 2,100 divided by 20 equals 105. So this is 105%. And then number 14 is 675 out of 500 is what percent? We're looking for the percent. We don't know the percent, so we leave the percent spot blank. Cross multiply. 67,500, because 675 times 100 is 67,500. Then divide by 500, and that gives you 135%. 135 over 100, which is 135%. And there's all your percents. And that's the using the percent model, where you set it up, part over whole equals percent over 100, and then you cross multiply and divide. Works great if you have a calculator. Will work every single time. So I know this was a lot to take in, but this is percents, and this was a lot of good information about percents. All right, do well on those exit tickets.